The Soviet Army, together with its Warsaw Pact allies, represents the largest mechanized ground force in the world today. They are capable of mounting large-scale offensive operations on fronts extending from Denmark in the north to Italy in the south. NATO capability to defend against this force has raised questions concerning both tactics and weapon systems available to our ground forces in this area. This film will portray and evaluate concepts which would help achieve the primary mission of NATO forces, a successful defense in Europe.
The Warsaw Pact nations are capable of employing heavily armored forces against the NATO alliance in Europe. Soviet doctrine stresses that the offense will be conducted from the march by fast-moving tank and mechanized forces. These rapid, hard-hitting, round-the-clock attacks are coordinated with conventional rocket, air, and artillery fires. Small airborne and air-mobile forces may be employed in rear areas. It is estimated that the Warsaw Pact forces have over 20,000 tanks for operations against NATO forces. This represents an enemy tank superiority ratio of about 3 to 1. Their integrated weapons system includes medium and light artillery, medium tanks, air defense weapons, rockets, mortars, and small arms. It is assumed that an attack by the Warsaw Pact forces in Europe can occur through any of the historically established corridors of approach into Western Europe. These areas are watched closely by the Central Army Group, called CENTAG. Allied forces defending against this threat are 2 corps of the 7th U.S. Army and 2 West German corps. The mission of CENTAG is to engage and destroy the enemy as far to the east as possible, while conducting a delaying action. The width of these sectors requires defending U.S. ground forces to cover as much as 4 times the normal frontage. Thus, mobile firepower to respond quickly and in force is considered vital to any realistic defense of these sectors. To strengthen the defensive capability of the U.S. forces against the threat, a concept has been developed for the employment of attack helicopters, possessing the capabilities of the AH-56A Cheyenne. These attack helicopters provide the ground combat commander with an added dimension in mobility, a highly responsive, fast reaction, mobile striking force capable of rapid contour flight across the terrain, unimpeded by natural and man-made obstacles. This mobility will make it possible to conduct an effective surprise attack against enemy armor at a time and place of the commander's choosing. Under this concept, attack helicopter units will be organic to a conceptual mechanized infantry division. The combat maneuver elements of the division are as follows: 4 mechanized infantry battalions, 3 tank battalions, an air cavalry attack battalion consisting of both attack and light observation helicopters, and a cavalry squadron. Divisional artillery provides fire support from 155 millimeter and 8-inch self-propelled howitzers. A Chaparral Vulcan self-propelled artillery battalion provides division air defense. The Air Cavalry Attack Battalion consists of 3 Air Cavalry Attack Companies and 1 headquarters and headquarters company. Each company has 3 attack platoons and 1 scout platoon. The conceptual battalion has a mix of 45 attack helicopters and 30 light observation helicopters. The attack helicopters are assigned on the basis of 15 per company and 5 per platoon. The light observation helicopters are assigned on the basis of 10 per company. This mix is tentative and will be examined in greater detail in future experiments and studies. In order to understand the tactics employed by attack helicopters in the following simulation, it is first necessary to realize the full capabilities of the AH-56A Cheyenne. The AH-56A is capable of acquiring and attacking enemy targets under conditions of darkness and limited visibility. It is equipped with an inertial guidance and navigational system, plus surveillance, target acquisition, and night observation equipment. It is responsive to data acquired by ground-based sensors and other intelligence and acquisition sources. This attack helicopter can execute 120-degree turns left or right from the line of fire after firing a tow missile, or hover just above the crest of the hill while the gunner guides the missile to the target. The tow missile can penetrate any known enemy armor at a maximum range of 3,000 meters with a time of flight of less than 15 seconds. Time of flight for a range of 2,000 meters is less than 8 seconds. The 30-millimeter cannon is capable of defeating lightly armored vehicles, including armored personnel carriers, with an effective range of 3,000 meters. This provides compatibility with the maximum range of the tow missile. The doctrine, tactics, and techniques for the employment of these attack helicopters are applied in the following simulated combat situations. The situations are covering force, main defensive, and counter-attack actions. All tactical concepts portrayed in this film were confirmed by a computer-assisted war game using AH-56A attack helicopters. However, for the purpose of the film simulation, AH-1G Cobra attack helicopters are being used to represent the AH-56A Cheyenne. The situation is, aggressor forces are initiating a major offensive along the West German border. Their immediate objective is to destroy the integrity of U.S. forces in the Fulda Gap area and prevent reinforcement. This could permit the Warsaw Pact forces to hold key areas while negotiating political issues or continue the offense. Under conditions of reduced visibility, the leading element of the aggressor army is approaching the border. The Allied force deployed in the Fulda Gap is a U.S. Army Mechanized Infantry Division with an Organic Attack Helicopter Battalion. Initially, tactical air will have the primary mission of interdiction and gaining air superiority. Between 2030 and 2400 hours in late summer, the U.S. Mechanized Infantry Division deploys into field positions in response to a general alert order. A covering force is positioned well forward of the main body of the division. It consists of an armored cavalry squadron, self-propelled field artillery battalion, an engineer company, and a chaparral Vulcan battery under the command of an assistant division commander. Its job is to cover the major avenues of approach, give early warning, and conduct delaying actions. A, B, and C troops of the armored cavalry squadron are deployed across the division front. D troop, the air cavalry troop, provides aerial reconnaissance by employing air cavalry teams, each composed of 2 OH-6 light observation helicopters and 1 attack helicopter. One air cavalry team performs reconnaissance and security missions in each cavalry troop sector, thus extending the capability of the ground unit. The division commander places the Air Cavalry Attack Battalion under the operational control of the covering force commander, who directs that the battalion deploy forward, positioning one company in vicinity of each cavalry troop. At 0300 hours, a report is received from Corps surveillance aircraft that the aggressor tank columns are moving toward the West German border. By 0530 hours, the enemy columns are crossing the border along the entire division sector of responsibility. In order to illustrate the employment of the attack helicopter, the battle action will now focus on sea troop. The Air Cavalry Attack Company is in its forward assembly position, called a logger area, approximately 17 kilometers to the rear of sea troop, but well forward of the main defensive positions. CH-47 Chinook helicopters pre-position supplies at forward areas for use in refueling and rearming the helicopters. At 0600 hours, an air cavalry team continues to reconnoiter the forward area. The attack helicopter provides immediate fire protection to the scouts. The team sights an enemy tank column estimated to be at least battalion size. The lead element of this column has crossed the border. The air cavalry team does not have sufficient firepower to engage a target of this size, so it maintains a surveillance standoff range of about 2,000 meters, avoiding detection by flying nap of the earth. The air cavalry team reports the target with a recommendation to engage the enemy with attack helicopters. As a result, the Air Cavalry Attack Company is alerted for the attack. The commander of the Air Cavalry Attack Company briefs his operations officer. The platoon leaders are rapidly assembled for a mission briefing. Once the battle starts, all platoon leader briefings will be conducted over the radio. The scout platoon immediately proceeds to the target area. It's the job of the air cavalry team leader to recommend holding areas and initial attack positions for the Air Cavalry Attack Company. Scouts confirm this information and reconnoiter additional attack positions. The scouts then assume responsibility for the surveillance of the sector, and the air cavalry team proceeds to another area. Once the attack team starts the attack, the scouts maneuver to positions where they can maintain surveillance of the battlefield. These positions are either to the rear or flanks of the attack helicopters, depending on the terrain. One platoon of sea troop occupies a delaying position along Route 84. As the enemy column comes into range of ground fires, the ground cavalry platoon leader gives the command to commence firing pre-planned artillery fires and his organic anti-tank weapons. He informs the attack platoon leaders that they are clear to commence their attack. All ground weapons will continue firing while the attack helicopters engage the enemy.